The big question we then ask ourselves is, what are the types of PPP projects? And this is also another 10 marks area that the examiner is going to be bringing to you. Now, there are about 7 types of public-private partnership arrangements. For the purpose of my presentation, I'm going to take them 2 by 2. Then you see the way they operate, and I want you to stay with me here well, because like I said, it's a done deal area waiting for us in the exam hall. Number 1, we're going to be talking about both and BTO. Okay, both and BTO. What do we mean by both and BTO? Both means we build, operate, and transfer. That is both. Then BTO means build, transfer, and operate. Please stay with me. They are very simple. You're going to understand it. Now, what are these about? They are types of PPP. So, you know, a private sector is bringing in something and the public sector is bringing in something. But what are they about? In either case, what happens is that capital is going to be invested by the private entity. So, capital investment by the private entity in both cases. Number 2, in both cases, there is a risk sharing between the contracting entity and the public sector, the private sector entity in both cases. Okay. Then number 3, in both cases, the private entity or the private investor is allowed to operate the asset for a number of years to recoup their investment. So for starters, these are the 3 key features we can talk about. Whether it is build, operate, transfer, or build, transfer, operate, the private investor is bringing in the capital. There is going to be risk sharing between the 2 parties, the private investor and the public sector entity or the contracting entity. In both cases, the private investor is required to operate the asset for a number of years to recoup their investment. In both cases also, it's a new asset that we are dealing with. It's a new asset. It's a new project that we are dealing with generally at the end of the day. So what is really the difference between the 2? The difference is in the name and the way the arrangement is done. The first one is you build, operate, and transfer. So here, what happens is that under build, operate, and transfer, the private investor builds the asset. It's given the right to operate the asset for a given number of years. It could be between 25 to 30 years for them to recoup their investment. Then after that agreed number of years, the residual asset is transferred to the contracting entity. So transfer of the residual asset occurs at the end of the time agreed for the private investor to operate the asset. But under build, transfer, and operate BTO, what happens is that immediately the asset is ready, transfer is done. So the contracting entity will take ownership of the asset. Then the private entity is given the right to maintain, to operate the asset for a number of years to recoup their investment. That is the idea about the difference between the 2. So it is in the name and in the structure of how these things are. So what are we saying? We are saying that here, transfer of the residual asset at the end of the agreed term. So transfer occurs at the end of the agreed term. But under the build, transfer, and operate, immediately the asset is completed, transfer is done. So transfer of the asset takes place. Immediately the asset is completed. All right. Then the private sector entity is given the right to operate the asset for an agreed period to recoup their investment. That is the idea about build, operate, transfer, build, transfer, and operate. Let's look at the second one. Mo for Mohammed Kudus. or Mosala, and then SE, like say Supreme Court. So more here, it's going to be maintain and operate. That is more. Maintain and operate. SE here is going to be service concession. Now stay with me. Stay with me. What is the similarities between the two? Maintain and operate and then service concession. In either of these, number one, we are dealing with an existing asset. Okay, we are dealing with an existing asset. So there is already an asset, there is already an operation, there is already something that is there. However, that asset is operating at a low productivity level. So there is less productivity level for the entity or the operation or the project in question. So there's an existing asset. It's not that the asset is faulty. It's not that the asset is destroyed. It's there, it's being done, but there is less productivity, there is less efficiency there. That's the second thing that we need to understand. Then we bring in a private sector, and here the private sector entity, among other things, is required to increase the productivity or efficiency of the entity. So the private entity is required to increase productivity, or if you want, efficiency of the entity of the project. So whether we are dealing with maintain and operate or service concession, it's an existing asset, but the asset is not operating to its capacity. We are not achieving value for money. There is less productivity there. That's the second thing. The third thing is that the private sector entity is brought in to shake up the system and increase efficiency for us at the end of the day. So what is the difference between the two? Okay. The difference between the two is that in maintain and operate, it's an agency relationship. What does that mean? It means that something that a public sector entity previous was doing, now we bring in a private sector entity to come and do it. So it's an agency relationship. So now the private entity under maintain and operate is now acting as an agent, acting on behalf of the government. That's all. So it's an agency relationship. Number two is what I said earlier. The private entity only operates the asset without any capital investment, because you're an agent. Because if you're an agent, you don't invest. So any money that is needed to ensure that the service will be rendered, any money that is needed to ensure that productivity is increased, any money that is needed for the day-to-day running of the affairs of the entity in question will be provided by the government or by the contracting entity. And so here there is no sharing of risks, because any risks associated with the asset is solely borne by the contracting entity. Because you're an agent. Agents don't bear any risk. And usually, this is a short period of time, less than 5 years. And so, the private entity operates the asset for a fee. Okay? I could have brought that in. For a fee. So, we pay them because they are agents. So, we pay them to maintain the asset. How about service concession? Service concession also, there is an existing asset, like you know already. It is less productive, so we need a private sector entity to come and what? Shake up the system. But here, unlike where it's an agency relationship, here it's more than that. So here the private investor or the private entity is required to both operate the asset as well as introduce capital. So you don't just operate it, you introduce capital. So here we say that the private entity is not only required to operate the asset, but also invest capital into the project. Now, because the private investor here is not only operating, but also bringing in some money, it means they will also bear some risks. So here, risk is going to be shared between the contracting entity and the private entity. So it is usually a long period of time, and that could be more than 25 years.